Welcome back, everybody, to Real Time. We got a very full show for you today and a very full slate of people on here at the table. We're going to be talking Penguin Episode 1, 28 years later, as an update on what it was shot on. We've got Mickey 17 and Squid Game Season 2 teaser trailers. Then after that, we have, Jared Bush has his own new role at Disney Animation. And finally, for our discussion of the week, we're going to be talking our favorite movies of Disney Animation. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to ReelTime RoundTable, where we give you the best Hollywood-related news here on YouTube. I'm your co-host, Josh Williams.
I'm your co-host, Jordan Burke. Oh, I'm Megan.
I'm Isaiah.
I'm Andrew.
We've got two newbies on the table,
do.
Megan and Andrew.
Yep.
It's exciting.
Thank you guys for having on. You guys excited
sure.
to be here?
Oh, yeah,
Super
for sure.
Excited.
Definitely.
And we've got, the old guard
Regular.
here.
Oh,
Isaiah
yeah.
is always
Old
here,
guard.
all the
Yeah.
time. How's everybody's week been? It seems like everybody's had a case of the Mondays today.
Oh.
I'm the same way. I woke up just kind of like... No, I don't want to answer that. Someone called me. Who knows what it is? But I don't know about you guys. I woke up this morning. I'm like, I know it's my show. I know it's our show. I know we got to do it. But God,
But I don't want to.
I'm just
I'm
tired.
Just
Yeah.
wanna
Like, I'm
sleep
excited to be here
in.
to decide to talk about these because these are some really good
Right.
topics. But at the same time, like, you just had that moment. I woke up, you sit on the edge of your bed, and
It's
you're
like,
just like,
man.
I think it's the rain.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been
It's probably the
so
rain, yeah.
hot recently, and it's like the first day it's been below 80.
Yeah.
And I think it's throwing
jarring.
yeah.
Yep.
It is a little, yeah.
Yeah.
all right, well, let's try and get ourselves back in the swing of things
Yep.
here, guys. I
Let's
got
do
my
it.
coffee here. Hang on. All right, let's get into our first topic, everybody. Penguin just released this past weekend, which is the spin-off to The Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, and again, case of the Mondays, my brain is not working. Who played Batman in the Batman?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson. Thank you very much. Told you. Case of the Mondays is happening.
Yeah.
And it stars Colin Farrell and a slew of new actors. One of the big notables for me is Kristen Milotti. I have a place in my heart for her because she was the mother on How I Met Your Mother. So I've always rooted for her to have her be on anything that she can be on. And I'll get into her performance on this one. But let's start off right here at the top. Isaiah, you saw the episode. Everybody did here. What did you think? I mean, what did you think about it actually being a spin-off? But then, like, after you've seen it, what did you think?
I mean, after watching the Batman, I definitely felt like they were setting it up for spin-offs. And I'm honestly really excited to see sort of a live-action Batman spin-off, especially told from the perspective of someone like the Penguin, who is kind of like a lower tier kind of boss. He's,
At this point.
right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really a fan of like mobster crime family type of movies. So I mean, going into this, they very clearly stated like, hey, this is the type of show we're gonna be, and I bought into it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it does start a little bit slow, but of course, it's the first episode, and I don't know, that first kind of scene really drew me in, and
the
showed,
opening montage of kind of recapping.
and obviously what the inciting incident of the entire show.
Yep.
I saw that. I was like, all right, I'm ready to get into this. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. I really did enjoy the first episode.
Yeah, I loved
for
the
sure.
opening montage too. I liked how it kind of built from there. But what about what stood out to you, Andrew? After what most stood out to you after watching this one?
I feel like just performances in general, honestly. There's so many fantastic performances from pretty much everyone in the cast, which was nice to see, because sometimes where you have like one or two people who are like, they're not really there, but like this feels like everyone is in on it completely, and I thought that was very cool. And also I like a lot of the cinematography is very similar to the Batman, which makes sense because they're connected in that way, but I think the vibe of the show is really great so far.
Well, I like how it's the whole new cinematographer, it's a whole new director, showrunner. I do appreciate that they're continuing because there's a certain aesthetic to Matt Reeves' films.
For sure.
And they're continuing that aesthetic. Because sometimes they'll move a movie, they'll do a spin-off, but it's like its own thing.
Yeah, and then it looks completely different.
Yeah, completely different. And to me, it takes you out of it, but this still feels like that same Gotham.
Yeah.
So, Megan, you've seen it as well.
Yeah.
Like, what was probably your favorite performance out of all of them?
Oh, the woman you mentioned. What was her name?
Kristen Milotti. She plays Sophia Falcone.
Sophia
Oh,
is
yeah.
scary.
She's so good.
She is
kills
so
it.
good. Terrifying every time she's on screen.
Yeah.
That like wide eye smile she does. Like
Mhm.
I can conceive her as, yes, this is a scary woman.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
I would be scared of her. I am scared of her watching from my couch.
Yeah.
I think she does a great performance. That was definitely the moment that stood out to me. Was like anything she did was like, ooh, she's a good character.
Yep.
And a very good actress playing that character.
So Jordan, you saw bits and pieces of it. You were
Bits and
you were
pieces.
pretty busy this weekend. Fully understandable. But what are people saying online about this so far, like on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that?
It's very, very high. I think it's a 94%
Yep.
for
Yep.
the Rotten
Let me
Tomato
check.
score, and then the audience score is about 89,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
80, high 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very good. I think Colin Farrell honestly is perfect casting for this. He is
Yeah.
so good. His makeup, you can like can't really tell it's him
Yep.
sometimes. You have to
No,
like,
yeah.
oh, there he is. Yeah.
It's not just the
So
makeup too.
good.
It's the affliction of his voice,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
mannerisms, how he walks. Like he just completely absorbed himself into this character. And that's when we were talking about last week about how like you take a person who likes to enthrall themselves into a character like that, like Heath Ledger's Joker or something like that.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. Like you just enthrall
sure.
yourself into a character. So you don't see Colin Farrell anymore. You see Penguin. You see, Oz Cobb, and it's just he ruled in this show. I mean, I loved every second of this episode. I'm excited for the other two, like for other episodes coming up. And you're right, Kristen Milotti as Sophia. I will admit I've only seen her in like comedies and some
Yeah.
drama stuff. I didn't know what to expect of her playing like an antagonist. Killed it. Absolutely killed it. This one, I'm liking the fact that they brought on like some other characters. Now, here's a big question I want to throw around the room, and I'll start with you, Jordan.
Me?
Yeah, you.
So exciting.
I just noticed you have like all these. That's really
I
cool.
do.
Like, all
It's
these.
all one, but it's.
Oh, it's all one. I
It
thought
is.
they were like
Yeah,
multiples.
no, they all hang together. But yeah, it's like, it's a bunch of them.
That's cool. Do you foresee Batman making an appearance in this show, or do you think they can't afford Robert Pattinson?
I mean, they got Colin Farrell.
It's true.
I think it'd be cool. Maybe just one appearance. I think if they're gonna leave it as his show, it needs to stay with Colin Farrell. Don't bring in too many big people, big names. But I think one appearance would be kind of cool.
Appearance, or maybe even like references to him, because
Yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
can't
They
just
can
be
reference
done.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely gonna be like references. I feel like at the very least there's gonna be references.
Absolutely.
But I think like along what Joanna was saying, I think like one appearance would be probably the best case scenario. Because I feel like if he appears too much, then it's like, well, not really a Penguin show anymore, is it?
Right. What about you, Isaiah?
Yeah, I mean, I think even in the Batman, they could kind of have that scene where he's kind of trying to get information out of the Penguin. I think something like that, where
That
maybe,
would be good.
Maybe
Yeah.
he shows
Yeah.
up and he's like, hey, I need help with this villain, and it's kind of like hinting towards maybe what the next Batman's gonna be about. I think the fans would like that, where it's like, oh, we can break this down, but it's not gonna take away from this is the Penguin show, you know.
Yeah, Megan.
I agree. I think it is the Penguin. It should be about him, and it shouldn't be like too much about Batman. Like this isn't a Batman story, but I think people do want to see him, and I think it would be like, oh hey, when he shows up. But I don't think he should be in there a ton.
No, I don't think he should be in there tonight. I think at least references to him, and I think he should show up at least once. Because while this is Penguin's show, this is Colin Farrell's show, this is still Batman's world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean?
That's true.
So I mean, you cannot have Gotham and have him do a bunch of stuff running around without having him at least being referenced or talked about, or at least have him showed up at least once. Because from what it looked like from the first one, Penguin is kind of integral to getting information because he's very loose lipped sometimes when he wants to be. If it gives him advantages. Right. So I think doing that, and also I think what would help keep it connected, because there's going to be another Batman movie, is I think it's what you said was be a great idea, Isaiah, is to help reference what the next thing will be to help keep that connection feeling.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see if they can maybe not even in like a scene where he's there, but kind of show his presence in the world in a way where you can see from the criminal perspective. Because if anyone's played the Arkham games, you can listen in on what the like the criminals and stuff are saying, and they're scared of Batman. You don't have to necessarily show him, just show like maybe some crime boss is like, dude, I don't know about this deal. I'm scared about the Batman showing up or something. I feel like that would be really cool to just like show his, overarching presence, sort of like the first Batman movie did, where people see him and they're like, oh.
Another big reference I think we should have is like, at least most of the nights you see the bat signal up in the sky.
Right.
That kind of thing. Just things like that too.
Yeah.
Little
Really
things.
Cool. But I don't think we should give our scores just yet. I think as the seasons go on, I think it's supposed to end before we wrap up for this semester first.
I
think we'll give our final scores. I'll try and have all of you guys on again for that, and we'll do like a finale review and then our scores for it. But so far, I think we can all say, check this out. This show is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion, but there's a reason I didn't bring it up. Agatha all along. There's a reason I didn't, pick this to be talked about. But that's just me. What did you guys think of Penguin? Did you like the first episode? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts.
So up next, 28 years later, I believe it's a summer horror film coming out in 2025, was shot completely on an iPhone 15 Pro Max. I think this is very, very interesting because what's the point of it? Why would a franchise or a film company just get an iPhone 15 instead of renting out or buying or using a high quality cinema camera? So Megan, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts about this? Why do you think they chose this?
I think Apple's paying them a lot of money. I think that's what's happening. I think it's weird. It's like just like why? Like I'm sure the cameras have the quality to be able to shoot a full feature-length movie to make it look good, but it's just kind of like, but why would you?
Right.
You have good cameras. You have big cameras. iPhone 15, like, obviously, it's going to be a good camera, but, like, why is, I guess, my main question. And I think they're getting a lot of money from Apple to do that. But is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Right. Josh, what do you think?
So when I first heard the idea that there's going to be all on an iPhone Pro Max, I was like, interesting, especially given this movie. But if I remember right, some of 28 Days Later was shot on an iPhone itself. Looking like I did some research, but also you think some movies that were shot on also on iPhones, Tangerine, which is an incredible indie film, was shot on it. But it's interesting because this is a bigger budget film.
Yeah.
Which is, I think maybe they're going for an aesthetic look of some kind, which makes me wonder that's why they chose to do it. But at the same time, it's very interesting. I'm excited to see how it looks because again, a Pro Max is actually pretty good quality of a film, and maybe they're going for again some kind of found footage kind of thing, like people use their phones for something. I don't know, something like that. I'm guessing is what they might be going for. I don't know. I still like the idea because it's expanding creative freedom and just trying something different. But that to me is like where I'm more intrigued now than anything. Just having it be just like a big cinema camera because it makes me wonder like how it's gonna look.
And then part of me is also curious: is it just gonna be like this with your phone, or are they going to add more stuff to it? And if they're going to add
like a bunch of rigs,
more lenses, then why not just get a high quality cinema camera? Isaiah, what do you think?
Yeah, well, so I've only seen 28 Days Later. I haven't seen the sequel.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it.
I was going to say it's okay. Yeah.
Jeremy Renner's cool.
But I know that the 28 Days Later, they really wanted to go for kind of a, I don't know, very gritty kind of not polished look,
right?
So I think they might be trying to do something similar to that with using the iPhone. Maybe try and I don't know, make it not look so clean, I guess. I don't know exactly. I haven't seen any movies shot on iPhone. I've heard of some like Tangerine, but I'm interested to see. I don't know how it will look, but I'm interested, and I think it's really cool that movies of this kind of scale are being produced with things that people can access. I think it helps like low budget filmmakers be like, hey, if this film can do it, why can't I? And go out there and do things. I mean, of course, they're probably using some sort of rig with it. But, the essence of that idea is there that, okay, I can go do something. And when I was a kid, I heard about these types of movies, or I would watch YouTube films where they said I made it on a phone. And I was like, oh, I'm not, I can't keep making up excuses to why I can't make films. I can go make this right now. It may not look the best, but that's all right.
Yeah, another big one was Unsane. I don't know if you remember seeing that one. It's made by Steven Soderbergh. That was made on an iPhone as well. iPhone 7 Plus, actually. That's crazy. Made $14 million, which to me is like kind of incredible to think about. You can make so much money just
from your
saving
phone.
your budget.
So something that is also getting my attention about this film is that it is a zombie film, and I'm curious if using an iPhone is supposed to play into the aesthetic more of it. Andrew, do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't know. All of it just again it does, like you were saying, it feels kind of weird that they are using specifically an iPhone, because as far as I understand, the original film wasn't necessarily like a found footage film. Isaiah, can you confirm that, or
it's not played off as a found footage?
Okay, 'cause
but
I
it is
wouldn't
kind
think
of
so.
yeah. The way they shot it is kind of like, as if someone is kind of following him. So
okay,
it's like,
so it's like
yeah, it's like
it's like
sort of,
kind of.
yeah.
So I do wonder what the decision is there. But what kind of makes me more curious is, like, if this film does do good and if it does look good, will that cause like sort of a ripple effect where it's like phones will be used more and more, and like productions in general? Because if they are, then that could very well open up a lot of people's could like have the opportunity to make films on their own, like independently. I feel like, because I mean, like, everyone has a phone in their pocket, right? So if you can make a movie on that, you just buy like a lens and like maybe like a rigging kit. That's going to be significantly cheaper than investing in a full-blown cinema camera, or even potentially even renting one, because you'll be able to have that consistently. So I would wonder like how would that affect independent film more so than
20 Days Later wasn't really a found footage. It just, they moved the camera so much, like it was very shaky cam to help you feel that realism.
Okay.
Whereas movies like Wreck or Quarantine,
those are found
footage,
sure.
or or like Blair Witch Project, of course, everyone knows that one. So yeah, those ones are kind of more found footage. But maybe with the having the zombie effect, could be. I mean,
could be.
It could.
You can really probably do some very interesting things with maybe with the iPhone, with using zombies and all that stuff, with the running and stuff like that. So that could play a fun factor.
I wonder if this coming out in the summer, since more people are able to go see movies in the summer, if them using an iPhone, knowing that a lot of people have potential to see it, is not a coincidence.
Maybe.
Or if maybe they are trying to push, like, can a big franchise just use an iPhone and it'll work great?
That could be the case too.
It very well could be, yeah.
It's very possible.
mean, because I'm gonna look up real fast for you guys. Like, continue on real fast. But I want to see what the budget of this movie is real fast.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited?
The first one was not huge budget either.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It's.
I imagine this one's probably gonna be bigger, just because.
Oh yeah.
Comparing time frames.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, I skipped the sequel, but I feel like with the third one coming out, I might just rewatch them from the beginning and then the next day go see this one. So I don't know. It's kind of brought my excitement back up. I know the zombie genre is very, saturated by now, but 28 Days Later does hold a special place in my heart because it's like my dad's movie. It's like his favorite zombie movie ever.
Plus, they're different kind of those, like rabies. These are rabies zombies.
Right.
Yeah. Different kind of zombies.
Well, this is making me scratch my head now because they're using iPhones for the filming. It's a $75 million budget film. Which I'm like, where is this money going to be going?
I would assume like props and costumes and set design, but I don't know.
Who knows? But that's going to make me scratch my head a little bit more. But who knows?
Bit strange.
That's so fascinating. Well, guys, that's all we have for this topic. Let us know your thoughts. If you would use an iPhone, if you were a big franchise, do you want to film a movie on an iPhone? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
All right, let's roll right into the next one here, guys. We're talking movie trailers. Of course, every week, trailers are dropping all the time now. We're probably going to cover them every week. We're talking Mickey 17, and we're going to start off with Isaiah, because Isaiah, you brought it up. I was going to do it anyway, but I was happy when you brought it, like, oh, Mickey 17 comes out. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I thought it was going to be going one way as far as its genre and its tone, but it completely surprised me. Like, it's a very dark, comedic. I don't know how to describe it. Like, go ahead. But Bong Joon-ho is, I mean, I trust anything he does. But what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I mean, when the teaser first came out, I think I was on the show for that. I was completely hyped for it because I love Bong Joon-ho and. I saw the trailer and I immediately texted you. And I was like, Mickey 17 is out. And so I watched it and I got the same kind of reaction where the tone of it is very strange. It is sort of like a dark comedy, which I did not expect. But I kind of looking back at Parasite, it does kind of have that humor in it. That kind of dark humor that switches. So I'm curious whether he's going to do a sort of similar twist where he's portraying it as one genre and then he's going to try and do a twist and switch it. Sort of like with Parasite,
Right.
you don't know it's going to be a horror movie until that kind of twist towards the middle of the movie.
Right.
So I'm curious if that's what it's going to be. I love the cast for it. Stephen Yeun is one of my favorite actors ever. Robert Pattinson, super talented. We were just talking about the Batman, and he did great in that. And there's some other people. I forget her name. Colette from Toni Collette from Hereditary. So
should have got an Oscar nomination. I still stand on that forever.
And so like the cast is amazing for this. You know, Bong Joon-ho is gonna do great. I'm super excited for whatever it is. I'm gonna go watch it whenever it comes out. And so yeah, I'm just as excited for it. I'm just a little confused, which kind of makes me more excited because hey, maybe it'll give me something I wasn't expecting. Maybe there'll be a twist.
And this is something to note on this one is that this is actually Bong Joon-ho's first like American studio film that he's ever done. So what about you, Andrew? You saw this one?
I'm very excited for this as well. Like I'm also a big fan of Parasite. I really should watch more of his movies. I just haven't been able to get around to it yet. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. Like Isaiah was saying, great cast. I'm really I didn't go into it with any real expectations though, so I wasn't necessarily surprised. I guess I was just kind of like, oh, this is. I guess it was slightly different from what I was expecting, but I was kind of pleasantly surprised because I was like, ooh, a kind of fun, dark, comedic sci-fi. I feel like you don't get too many of those, so I'm excited for that aspect of it.
What did you think of Robert Pattinson in this one so far, like playing multiple characters?
I'm so glad.
I think it'll be multiples of himself.
So glad
I think it'll be very interesting.
I'm very excited for it. I love going to watch the trailers on YouTube and then reading what everyone else thinks. And a couple of comments, someone said this will be another testament of how great Pattinson can be in any genre. And then someone, it was just funny to me, another one said, I love how everyone went from trolling Pattinson from Twilight to now praising him. And I think it's true. I think he is doing fantastic. I'm very excited for this.
I was one of those people who was like, when he did Twilight, I was like, can this guy do anything? But then I saw him in a movie called Good Time.
Yep.
And oh my God, I was like,
he kills it.
And
then it's just been banger after banger
since. It really
since.
has been. Megan, you saw this trailer. Are you looking forward to the sci-fi elements and everything like that?
Definitely. I like trailers that are like ambiguous. Like you're not quite sure. Like you can get some of like the plot and like theme elements, but like you're not really sure like where they're going to go with it or like what route they're gonna take. And I think like everyone else has been saying, I love Bong Joon-ho. I think he's gonna do great. I think Robert Pattinson's gonna do great. The little weird voice he's doing, so good. Like I don't. Like he did it with The Boy and the Heron, where he just like pulled out this voice from nowhere. And I think like we're seeing him like really flourish into like all these different roles that he can play.
Yeah, because you think about his voice in this versus him as Bruce Wayne, and you're like, that is a very big contrast difference.
Okay, these are not the same person.
They're not the same person. That's good. That's good.
It
You
is
can
good.
take
Yeah,
that to a character. I will say, the January 31st release date has me a little worried, but then again, that's when the mass release date. They haven't announced maybe they're going to do an early release if they're going to go for any Oscar nominations.
I feel like they're probably going to do an early release just based on
to try and get like an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if it does like a film festival run.
Yeah, because everybody knows me when I hear something that's released in January these days. I'm like, oh,
it's a
boy.
little bit scary, but I'm like, it's the 31st. It's Bong Joon-ho. I think it'll be fine.
And that's what for this one. That's what keeps me hopeful because it's Bong Joon-ho. I mean, think about this. Mother, Snowpiercer, Oakjaw, Parasite.
I was gonna say all these.
The Host is what really got me into him. It was just banger after banger, and I'm looking forward to this one. I will say I'm on the fence. I know he does a great job of blending tones and blending genres. This one to me, I hope I'm wrong in my brain. I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. For some reason, in my bones, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. So.
Same feeling with me.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not in the right. So let's move on here to our next trailer, which is Squid Game Season 2. Now, Squid Game Season 1 to me was one of my favorite shows when it came out that year. I've rewatched that thing probably 3 or 4 times. And I gotta admit, how it left off in Season 1 and to watching this trailer, I was all for it until I saw the very end of it, which then made me angry. And I'll start with Megan here. You've seen Squid Game Season 1, right?
So I come from a unique perspective that I never actually watched the first season of Squid Game.
Oh.
And so I've heard all about it, obviously. I know a lot of like what happens, and I've seen like a lot of like the games and clips. I just never got around to like actually watching it. So I guess my like main thing that I want to like hear from you guys is, there a season 2? Was it set up? Like, did season 1 end and it was like, oh, this could go on to be more?
Yes.
And, okay. Because I wasn't sure, and I didn't know if this was kind of just like a cash grab to like, well, it did so good in season 1, let's make it again.
No, they opened up how season 1 ended. Basically, the guy who won said, spoiler alert, I guess, for everybody, he's gonna stop them because all of his friends, a lot of his friends he made died there, this and that. Which what made me angry at the very end. And Jordan, I want to get your take because I know you watched Squid Game season 1. Like to me, they were building up this way for him, like find a way to stop this game from happening, and now he's back in the game, and I'm like, I don't know. Did that make you angry at all? Or
Yes.
Did it like frustrate you too? Because I'm
Yes.
like, why? You know what I mean? I was hoping for a different dynamic to this Squid Game. Because what are they gonna do? New games? I thought the whole point of Squid Game is to play the same game. You know what I mean? Because there's a certain set of games. But I don't know. What do you think, Jordan?
I personally don't want a season 2.
Don't?
I love the cliffhanger at the end. I liked kind of going, oh my gosh, and I wish it had just ended there. I don't really think every story needs to continue like that. I think if they are going to do a season 2, I wish it had at least continued on outside of the games.
Yeah.
Or a new what would you call that? Victims, I guess.
Yeah.
A new
Well,
group.
it seems like
Just a
they
new group
are
of
having a
people.
brand new group of people, but it's just the
Yeah.
main character now is back
Yeah.
in the game, and I'm like,
I don't want him back
I
in
don't
the
want
game.
him back in the game. I want him like
I want him
outside
to
trying
just
to corrupt it and
yes,
stuff like
exactly.
that. Like, what did you guys think?
Exactly.
Andrew, we'll start off with you. Like, what did you think of the trailer? At least we'll talk about that ending some more. But like, what did you think of the trailer? I still like the trailer up until the end.
I was gonna say I'm kind of with Jordan. I feel like it doesn't necessarily need a season 2, but I guess the trailer was all right. I guess there were some of the CGI shots, some of the visual effects looks a little bit iffy. I'm like, it doesn't quite look right. But I guess other than that, the trailer was perfectly fine. I'm just not very interested in it necessarily.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Isaiah, how about you, man?
Well, I did see season 1 of Squid Game. I think it was like my freshman year. Me and my roommate would watch. We like binged all the episodes together, and it was a really great time. And so I'm a big fan of Squid Game. I also agree with Jordan. I feel like season 1, I loved the way it ended with that open ending for me, where he's talking to like that old guy who had been in the game. I thought that was like really compelling of an ending. So coming into season 2, I feel like there was a possibility if they had gone at it the right way, but to me the trailer just wasn't that interesting, and also it just looks very cheap to me. Like Andrew mentioned, some of the CGI, the green screens, all the digital effects to me look kind of cheap. Which worries me as well, because they also released a live action Squid Game, which to me felt very gimmicky. It was kind of weird and cheap, so I'm just kind of worried, like maybe this is just trying to ride off the success of Squid Game without. I think they did have an idea for where they could go after season 1, but like I said, sometimes
Do you think
leaving
Netflix?
it up in the
You know,
air.
do you think Netflix put their hands a little bit too much into it?
I think so. I think they left. They probably had an ending in mind, but Netflix likes to keep things
Oh
open.
yeah, they always do.
And to me, I feel like Netflix always keeps things open and then will cancel it on a moment's notice.
Right?
And
It
I
drives me
hate that.
crazy.
I hate it. And there's so many good shows that it has created, like Squid Game. And I'm worried they're going to drag it on and then they're going to cancel it at one random point. And I've talked about this before with Netflix. I have lots of gripes, but I don't know. I mean, of course, I hope it's good. I'm hoping maybe they just were really, their hands were tied with all the, digital effects, and they just had to get a trailer out, and maybe it'll turn out really well.
So as we were sitting here talking, I had a light bulb go off in my head. But then again, that light bulb diminished because I was like, well, that wouldn't make sense at the same time. But my head was like, what if the reason he's in the game was now he is playing the role of like that the owner when he was playing, like the old man. Like he was, but then again, my brain goes, he hates these
But
people.
he hates it.
Like, he
wouldn't
hates
want
these people.
to.
Why would he like volunteer himself to go into those games again? You know what I mean? So that kind
That'd
of
be an
faded.
interesting
Maybe
concept.
he's
It'd be an interesting
double
concept.
agenting it. Like
Yeah,
he's,
that'd be an interesting concept to do.
Yeah, he's
Oh.
like he's pretending to go with them, but like secretly he's like against
Sabotage
them
it from
all
the
along.
inside.
Yeah.
That could be
That
interesting.
could be interesting.
Now I would buy into that.
Yeah.
But just being captured
could
to
be
go into the
interesting.
games, like forcefully, then I would just. If I honestly saw
Yeah.
that, I would throw my hands up and quit.
It's just kind of like
Yeah.
you've been here before.
like we've already
you
done
let this
this.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've already
Like
done
we've already
this.
watched not me, obviously. We've already watched this, like, go through this whole show of, like, surviving and, like, everyone else dying. Like, we're gonna watch the exact same thing happen again.
Yeah, and it's like, is he just going to let all these people just go through the games? Because either he reveals himself super early and he's like, guys, don't do this. And then he gets killed because, I mean, you know, the system is corrupt in Squid Games.
Right.
So what is he going to do? Just go along with it and watch people die? I just don't really understand. And I feel like I don't know what's going to be going on. I feel like you said, it would be a lot more interesting seeing him from the outside.
Yep.
And maybe he's trying to, like, I don't know, maybe he's a lawyer or something, and he's trying to, like, fight with a corrupt system or something. And he's, like, in Squid Game Season 1, they have all these bureaucrats that are behind the scenes.
The rich people.
Yeah. I thought they were going to go into that more. And they, like, tease it a little bit, but I feel like they had the possibility to do like a Hunger Games Part 2 where it starts going more into the politics, and they kind of, I don't know, they missed it for me.
Yeah, because you bring up Hunger Games, like I was okay with Catching Fire the way they did that, because how he did it makes sense. For this one, it's like you're gonna knowingly get yourself captured.
Right.
Like no one's gonna do that.
Or they could have pulled more Hunger Games and did a prequel of like the first, like how it started. Like this is where the first Squid Game came from, or this is where the idea started, or you know, something like that type of Hunger. That's what I thought you were saying with the Hunger Games, like prequels.
Maybe. But all right, guys, what do you think of these trailers? Did you like Mickey 17? What do you think about the ending of Squid Game Season 2? Leave your comments in that section below and let us know your thoughts.
Your thoughts.
Your thoughts.
So, going into our last topic, which will also go into our discussion, Jared Bush has just become the Chief Creative Officer of Disney Animation Studios. He worked on Moana and Zootopia. He won an Academy Award for Best Animation Feature for Encanto. Before we get into our discussion, I just want to quickly, what are your guys' thoughts about that? Do you think this is a good fit? Do you think it'll work?
I think so. I mean, the fact that he was involved in Zootopia, which we'll get into where I rank that amongst my list, says everything I need to know. And Encanto, also another beautiful film. I think the person who was creatively involved last time, she was in charge of Wish. And she's in charge of some of the more recent ones, which haven't been as good as the 2010 movies. So to me, this is a step in the right direction, because if they're going to be going into more new animated films, they need a fresh pair of eyes. And his track record has more than proved he can, take on that role of being a creative officer and kind of, I wouldn't say riding the ship, but a little more riding the ship of being back to what you were before. Because I would personally say the 2010s animated movies were much better than like the 2000s or even now the 2020s movies. That time frame was really great, but he was also like the one who was directing and writing those films. So that to me makes me excited.
So for our discussion, we wanted to talk about, since we're focusing on Disney animated movies, we wanted to discuss our favorite, underrated, worst, overrated, and best Disney animated movies. So I think we should just, Andrew, let's start with you. Let's just go down the line. What?
I'm writing down my best.
Yeah, great. I wasn't ready.
I forgot about the best ones. So
I'll start us off here. So we'll go off one at a time. We'll start off with our favorites. Let's go off with our favorites. How about that? Okay.
Okay.
My favorite right now, because I had trouble picking between these two, and I ended up putting the other one as my best. But for me, my favorite right now is again Zootopia.
Really?
That movie, right now, it's one of my favorites. Okay. And I want to bring it to life because of this discussion. When I saw that movie, I was floored because it was for kids, but the message of the movie, the undertones of the movie, and the discussions that were had, as far as like the characters, the world, how it deals with like racism, discrimination, those are all things for adults. Like, to me, that was a perfect blend of a movie that's for kids, but it brings something for the parents who take their kids that they can go and enjoy it themselves. Yeah. And that's how I felt walking out of it. Is like, of course, I wasn't a parent at the time, but walking out, I was like, that was a perfect movie for adults and for kids. And it won Best Picture that year with a stacked. I mean, that year, Moana came out. Kubo and the Two Strings came out. Like, it was a stacked year, and it won. And to me, it was deserving of that win. So that to me is right now still one of my top favorites. I have a slew of them, of course, but I wanted to bring that one to light for sure. What about you?
So we're going with favorite first.
Let's go with favorite first. So everybody go around.
So for my favorite, some of these are like half and half with like Disney, Pixar, and Disney. But for me, it would probably be Nemo or Monsters Inc. for my favorites.
Ooh.
I think both of those have really just great stories and I'm a really fan of strong characters who have, you know, clear arcs in the movies. I don't really like movies where it's all just the character has a funny personality, which a lot of kids movies do, and that's fine. But I don't know, Monsters Inc. and Nemo to me are really great, and they both have, you know, that childhood thing for me, but also just the storylines. I still watch them today, and I'm like, that's a good story. I really enjoy these, so definitely those.
Okay.
Gotcha.
What about you, Jordan?
My favorite, again, it's kind of a mix of Disney and Pixar, but Big Hero 6 is my favorite. I feel like when it's just like, it gets you in the feels. I feel like when I first watched it, I was like, this is so different from all the other movies that were currently out and all the others that I had seen, and I really, really enjoyed it. Megan, what about you?
I think based on just like childhood movies like that have stuck with me, definitely like Up or Wall-E.
Oh yeah.
Both those were like my thing as a kid. Like watched them all the time. And I think Up is still, I haven't watched it in a while, but it's like heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. And you just, I don't know, just kind of a good like kids movie. And also like as an adult, you can go back and be like, it still hits. It's still funny, and it still has the heartbreakingness of it.
That's good one. Andrew?
Yeah, I think my two favorites, again, Wall-E is definitely one of them. That was the first movie I remember seeing in theaters. I'm pretty sure it's the first movie I ever saw in theaters, and it was like my favorite movie for years after that point as a kid, and it still is definitely one of my favorites. I just aesthetically, it works so well for me. I just love it. It has that perfect aesthetic for me, I feel like. Another one I really like is Hercules. I had a really hard time picking between the two.
Wow.
Hercules is just such a fun movie to watch, man. It's so enjoyable. It's got good bits, good songs, great animation. It's just kind of like the perfect fun movie for me.
Okay. All right, so now let's move on to, what do you think, underrated? Let's go underrated. I'm going to start with you, Jordan.
With me?
With you.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh.
Or Notre Dame.
That's a
I
good
don't
one.
really know. But I think it's just,
It's either one.
it's just good. It's really good. And I know Addie is here on
Addie's,
graphics. I think Addie's doing
she's
graphics.
on Jeeves today. So.
Addie loves that movie. Shout out to Addie.
Shout out.
That is how I picked it, because I know Addie loves it. But
All
Hunchback
right.
of Notre Dame.
What about you, Megan?
For
Underrated.
I put The Emperor's New Groove.
That was a very good one.
Oh yeah,
That's
that
a
is.
It's so good.
I feel like a lot of people like it. Like everyone who's seen it likes that movie, but I feel like we don't talk about
No,
it.
yeah, it's
We
definitely one of the
We
ones
don't
that you don't talk about.
It's
Exactly.
so funny, and it's so. The characters are so good. It's just a funny movie, and I think the concept is good. And what's her name? What's the actress who plays Yzma? What is that?
Oh, Eartha Kitt?
Eartha Kitt.
Yeah,
She
okay,
kills
yeah.
it.
Amazing.
I know,
Like
she's-
the whole cast is great at voice acting, and
Yeah.
just it has so much charm
Mm-hmm.
in that
That's a
movie.
good one.
I definitely
Absolutely.
underrated.
All right, Andrew, let's go with you next.
Underrated. It's kind of a mix of live action and animation. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Ooh, I'll allow it. You know,
I think that
I'll
counts.
allow
It's
it.
got enough
I'll
animation
allow
in it to where it counts.
Yeah.
But that one, I feel like that one never gets
I love
talked
that
about
one so much.
anywhere. And it's like technically it's a mix, obviously, so a bit out there, but I
Great.
it's
Now I'm gonna
just,
have to go home and watch that when I get home.
Yeah,
Thanks.
maybe I have to watch it again. But it's just like it's a really good movie for all. It feels like a good movie for all ages. I feel like there's a lot for kids to enjoy, a lot for parents to enjoy, a lot for anyone to enjoy.
And I'm in the minority when I say this. Like movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and some other old animated, they dealt with more darker tones of things.
It's definitely a
whereas
darker film,
movies
yeah.
Today's animated really don't.
Yeah.
And that to me, like that's one of the ones I love. Like they kind of it goes into that a little bit.
But I feel like it balances that tone
Oh, exactly.
very well. 'Cause
Very
there's
well.
still like very, very comedic bits. Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking like the piano fight between Daffy and Donald Duck. That scene is just
Yep,
it's so fun.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so for my underrated, I once again had kind of a Disney Pixar and a normal Disney. Brother Bear and Turning Red. Those are two
Turning
I feel
Red,
are
okay.
super underrated. I feel like Turning Red especially went under and nobody talked about it really.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was during its time that it released, which was very recent. I felt like I was not impressed with a lot of the animated movies coming out. I feel like Soul came out around that time as well, and I was not impressed with Soul at all, to be honest. I thought
it was fine.
Funnily enough, heartless, you know. But yeah,
Wow.
Dang.
But also like Brother Bear, an older one I watched over this summer, and I was like, this is really sweet, and it was, you know, it had that like Disney sadness and bittersweetness that was really cool. And you know, it's kind of a Native American kind of story, and as an anthropologist, you know, that's kind of interesting to me to see, like, exploring other cultures and stuff like that, which I need to still see Moana and stuff like that. So,
Moana.
you know, both of those, I feel like nobody talks about them, but I really thought they were good.
So I'm glad I'm not the only one that cheated. So I have 2 for underrated, and you know, whatever. One is that it's an older one. It's one of the ones I grew up loving, but doesn't really get talked about. Is The Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, to me, I love that just because it was the first time it helped me explore. Right there, yes,
Yeah.
exactly,
Right there.
right there. Love that
Right
movie
there.
so much because it to me as a young kid, it helped me really explore that idea of prejudice. Like, just because someone is other doesn't mean they can't be your friend, and it doesn't mean that they're still just as like you. They're someone just trying to live their lives, kind of thing. You know, so that really, those are one of those things that really helped shape me in a sense. Another one more modern, Onward. I loved Onward.
I totally forgot about that movie.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It helps you. It's a good movie when you're dealing like with grief as far as losing a parent, but then like bonding with your brother, realizing what you have at home, not like, you know, longing for something that you've lost. Just great message, a good adventure film, and it had a good twist on, like, you know, dealing with the fantasy of fantasy characters. And I thought it was kind of fun. All right, so we're gonna switch it up now. We're gonna start off with Isaiah for overrated. You know what? Yeah, let's start with Isaiah. 'Cause, I'm gonna make somebody angry with mine.
Yeah, mine's
I'm gonna
not
make people
really-
angry.
Hot takes.
I got a
Mine
hot
is
take.
not that hot of a take.
Oh.
I thought about some, but I was like, I didn't want to choose one I hadn't watched. So my overrated is just Frozen, which I feel like everyone's going to
That's
agree
fair.
with,
Fair.
except maybe
No,
Jordan.
it's
who-
on my list.
Oh,
give me 5 on that one. Give me 5 on that one.
Yeah, Frozen, I had to watch that like 20 trillion times. My sisters were in dance, and so yeah, I had to watch Disney dances, Disney the movie, Disney plays,
Oh, God,
You're just
yeah.
Disney
over it.
toys. My entire life for like 3 years was filled with Frozen.
So I have a bunch of cousins who were around that age
Yes.
when it came out,
Yeah.
and I love referencing, like, there's an episode of Family Guy where Peter plays "bird is the word" over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like
There's a
that.
line, there's a scene where Stewie's like, you know, Brian, I don't feel right, and a piece of blood, you know, some blood goes over. That's how I felt in my family anytime "Let It Go" came on, over and over and over, and that's a good choice. I like that one. Jordan, let's start with you now.
Overrated?
Overrated.
Frozen.
Oh wow,
It's just,
okay.
It's the
Okay.
music. The music's so fun. Even for the second one, I love the music for the second one, and I think the story is good. I'm just over it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of seeing those two. Ugh.
Well, they're probably gonna make a live action now with Anya
No.
Taylor-Joy.
No. But I love Olaf. But I'm just
Josh
over
Gad's
the-
cool.
Yeah. I'm over the hype.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
What about you, Andrew? What's overrated in your list?
I'm gonna get. People are gonna be mad at me for this. I think Up is a little overrated.
What?
I love.
Hold on.
Are you gonna let me talk?
Go ahead.
Okay. I love
But
the
I'll throw
first.
something at you.
I think the first 10 minutes are perfect, but then the rest of it after that,
You know, yeah.
it kind of falls off. I'm not gonna lie.
Just because
I
the
can
first 10
see
minutes
that.
is so good.
That's really the problem, is that if it was a 10-minute short film, it would be perfect. Literally no notes. But the rest of it, it's just like, feels like we kind of
Yeah.
peak
I'm-
in the first 10 minutes,
yeah.
and then it just kind of goes down, and it doesn't really
yeah.
recover.
I feel like the part with the ship, I always like start getting a little bored at that point.
Yeah, I know, because
With,
it's like, where
yeah.
are we going here?
Yeah, I actually, now that I think about it,
It's just like, it feels like I said, it kind of just peaks in the first 10 minutes, and then it doesn't really reach. I don't think it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I just think, like, when people say, oh yeah, it's the best Pixar movie, it's like, well,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
And then they always just talk about
The
that
first 10
opening
minutes,
scene,
and
and
nobody
then after
talks
that
about
they're
the rest
like,
of the movie.
I mean, there's a bunch of balloons. That's it.
Stuff kind of
Alright,
happens.
That's a good point.
Does
That's a
it
good
really
point.
matter? I don't know.
I'll tone down my anger a little bit. You make a good point. I still love that movie. All right, Megan, what's overrated to you?
My overrated movie is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh.
Oh,
okay.
that is-
don't let my
that's a
wife hear you
hot
say that
take.
because she
That is
will
a hot
get
take
real
because I
angry.
see them everywhere. They're on
Yeah.
merch everywhere. Every Halloween, every
kind of agree.
Christmas, you see those characters everywhere on everything. That movie, I don't remember when it came out, but it's been several
It's been a
several
while.
years at
Oh,
this
no.
point. Like,
Nolan looks
surely
angry
we
over
can-
there.
Sorry.
Nolan just stood there. It's like he's got this look like.
like, surely we can have something else that can represent like the fall season. Because
Yeah.
now that it's fall and getting in closer to like October and like our spooky seasons,
Yeah.
where we're gonna start seeing what Jack Skellington and Sally something.
I don't think she has a last name in film.
Does she have a
Does
last
she?
name?
I don't think so.
No.
Oh,
You were right.
perfect.
Good job.
I think we're just gonna. I just hate seeing them everywhere, like constantly.
All right.
They're
Here,
like
too.
the representation of like Halloween. Like,
Yeah.
It's
It's a
just-
Christmas movie, by the way. I think it's a
oh,
Christmas
yeah.
movie. I think it's.
yeah.
You
But,
watch
like,
Some people say it's a Halloween
yeah.
movie. I'm like,
But I feel like we mostly see it to like represent fall.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just see them too much, and it kind of annoys me.
Yeah. Okay.
I can
mean,
agree. I agree with that because I like that movie, but I feel like it is like the marketing gets a little bit in the
Mhm,
way.
Yeah.
My overrated. I mean, I got a little triggered there. I'm okay. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Okay, I'm back. My overrated is actually gonna piss off. Sorry, make mad. I don't want to say that because we're all live here. One of our new coworkers, Brad, loves this movie to no end. But to me, with the exception of the third one, Cars as a franchise is completely overrated.
Clip this
I'm
and
sorry.
send it to Brad.
Clip it and send it to Brad. I'm gonna send it to him,
Brad.
and me and him can have a good discussion. But is it good? Yes. But is it worth its hype? No. I mean,
Yes,
it's
it
funny.
is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Main is the only thing that actually makes it relatively entertaining.
It's so good. It's so good. I cry every time.
If Owen Wilson was not in it, would you still watch it?
You know, that's a good point, Isaiah. I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you on that.
See, it just I don't know. It, like I said, like you guys have brought up, the movie's good. Don't get me wrong, but like everyone hypes it up so much, it's not there for me.
Mhm.
And like I said, if you disagree, great. I'm happy you love it. But for me, anytime a movie like if I was like, hey, let's watch Cars, I'm like, can we watch something else, please, please,
Can
please,
we
please.
watch anything else?
All right, so we're gonna start. I'll start off here with the worst, and then we'll
Oh,
get
the
on
worst.
to the best. So we got 2 more left. We're still good on time. We're probably in the 45 range, so we're good on time. We're good on time.
Okay.
Kayla, director in our back and in the back there. Big shout out to her. She's running
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We're fine, Kayla. Just so you
Just
know.
killing it.
Shout out Kayla.
Worst. I had to sit there and think for a while, and it's only because it's recent. Now I could probably think back a little bit more, but Wish is
Mm-hmm.
terrible.
Mhm.
Like, and it was supposed to be like this big movie to like for all the years Disney's been around, 100 years, whatever. And it's supposed to be this grand thing. And I watched it. I remember going to the theaters to watch it, and I'm like, I haven't felt that. But like after the movie ended, I felt the same way I did when I saw Assassin's Creed. I just wanted to blurt out that that sucked, but I didn't want to do that because there's a bunch of kids around. It just didn't make any sense. The tone was everywhere. The main character was completely uninteresting. And like I love like characters from like Moana to onward. Like there had to be some complexity to them. There just wasn't any there for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys agree at all?
Yeah, that's what I put as my worst.
Yeah.
You put
I
yours-
didn't see
okay.
Me
it, so
too.
I don't know.
I didn't
'Cause-
see it either.
It just didn't have the feel that. It just didn't have it. It
Mhm.
just didn't have what it needed, especially for like the 100th anniversary or whatever. They're like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be the Disney movie of
Yep.
all Disney movies, and it just
was not.
wasn't.
Nope, not at all.
Mm.
All right, what about you, Jordan?
Wish.
Okay,
That
you put
was-
okay.
Really?
See, I'm
That
glad
was
I'm not,
mine.
I'm not alone in this one.
Hanging up again.
It's just it's horrible. All right,
It's
what do
just
you guys
not
got? You
good.
got something other different?
I do. I said Ralph Breaks the Internet. Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Ooh.
I think that movie is terrible.
No,
I think
yeah.
that movie is a travesty. It completely destroys the characterization of Ralph and Vanellope. It's just they're different people. It's a
Yeah.
they're different people, and it's also just like
It's called
Half-
character development.
half of the movie is like a weird ad for a bunch of other Disney
Yeah.
things, and it's
Yeah.
like. What is the point of this? What is the point of them going to specifically the Disney section other than to advertise Disney as a whole?
as you're watching a
As
Disney
I'm watching
movie.
a Disney
I know
movie, like,
I
what
know
do
what
we-
Disney is. I'm watching the movie.
What are we doing here? I feel, and like I said, I feel like characterization is completely off from the first movie. Even like based on the end of the last movie, it's like these are not the same characters at all.
Yeah. Did you like the first one?
Yeah, I love the first movie. I think it's great.
It's so good.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed Andrew on the show. He may not be on there again after this one.
Yeah, I might be gone by quite long.
I completely disagree. It's character development, and yes, there's a lot of references to everything, but it's playing on the fact that they're in the internet. That's where it comes from for me.
I don't
But-
mind the internet references. I just mind the
digress.
Disney stuff.
What's your worst?
So I don't know if anyone else is gonna know this. This was a Disney XD, I think, original. I used to watch this all the time when I was a kid, and I looked back. I was like, oh my god, why was I watching this? This is really bad. Teen Beach Movie.
Never seen it.
Terrible movie. I
love
loved
Teen
it as a
Beach.
kid,
Yeah.
but I looked back, I watched some clips, and I was like, this is so embarrassing that I used to like dance to this as a little 10-year-old.
Yeah, I loved Teen Beach Movie as a kid, and I think, was it last year or 2 years ago? My roommates and I rewatched it. I mean, I can't say it holds up, but I don't know if I could label it as the worst. It has some charm to it.
It has charm.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always mean it's a good thing. But yeah, Teen Beach Movie.
Never seen it.
I've
I'll
never
have to
seen
check
it.
it out.
I don't
So
have anything to
I'm
say
out,
about
let's
it,
just
yeah.
watch it just to see.
Don't check it out.
For me, it's one of those, like, it's bad, but, like, it's really good.
It's like
personally.
a musical. So
Okay.
Yeah.
take it or leave it.
So let's go on here now to our best. Now this is, you can try and be as objective as you can of what you consider to be like the creme de la creme of Disney animation. So we'll start off with Jordan. What is your
boy.
which like you consider to be the best one of them all?
I have two.
Okay.
Because I feel like if we're talking about animation, we have to put Snow White, since
Okay.
it did
Oh,
put
That's a first
Disney
one.
animation very, very high on the map. My personal favorite of what I think is the best is The Lion King. I think
Yep.
it is just, it's held up for so long. I think everybody still loves it. It's the OG, in my opinion. I think it's the best.
See, this is why she's my co-host. Because what I consider to be the best is The Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
yes, it's Hamlet. Everyone will jump like, oh, but it's just Hamlet. I'm
Sure
like,
is.
so
And we
what?
love it, and it's
Who
fine.
cares?
Isn't
And there's
like a
nothing
saying
wrong
that,
with
like,
it.
everything is just a Shakespeare retelling.
It's kind of
Like,
true.
Pretty
yeah,
much, yeah.
Pretty
like,
much.
it's just, yeah, it doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
also, I think Lion King is such, like, a classic,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it holds up. The animation's good. The songs are good. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a good movie.
Like I guarantee you, we can play like clips of like the beginning of some of the songs in that one, and you'll instantly start singing the tunes.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love it. What's your favorite? What's your best? What do you
I
consider?
said Lion King.
You're Lion
yeah,
King? Okay.
King.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
What about you?
I'm also on the Lion King train because
Oh.
I mean, like, how can you? Realistically, it is the Disney movie. When you
Yep.
think Disney, that's like one of the first things you think of.
I mean, it's literally right there.
I was gonna say it's right there. Yeah. Quite literally.
All right. What about you, Isaiah? Wrap it up for us.
I'm not on the Line King.
Oh.
Tragic.
I
We
think
could've
it's
Could have went
good.
5 for
We
5.
could have had a
We
full
could've been
strike.
five.
Good, but my best, no. I had to go with Princess and the Frog.
Oh.
I love the
Okay.
music.
yeah.
I love the
Mhm.
I can see
music.
that.
I love all the characters in it.
Mhm.
I love the story, and you know some of the shots in that are just so
Mhm.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And you know the thing with the
good.
fireflies.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that movie, I'm tearing up a
You're
little
like,
bit. in that scene.
Yeah.
And you know I just really enjoyed all. The only thing is like the ending's kind of like meh.
Mhm.
But to me, like the whole journey up to there is just fantastic, and I would also consider that sort of a underrated movie as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
the
for
Disney.
sure.
Yeah.
I
for sure.
definitely think that one sort of created almost a new feel for Disney.
Mm.
It's very different from the rest, and it has different characters, and it's set in a different location than all the others. I would definitely put that one as kind of like sort of a turning point
Mhm.
Yeah.
for Disney.
Yeah.
And I
It's
yeah,
more,
I
it's
agree.
more like I mean, obviously, I'm gonna say realism. I'm aware that there's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
magic.
There are talking frogs.
Yeah, I'm aware of the magic, but it's like it's set in like a real city, in like a real time
Right.
period,
Yeah.
and not like
Mm.
fantastical
Yeah.
and like princesses.
Like somebody who
It's-
works
I mean,
all the time.
She is
Who
by the end. She's
Aladdin.
Yeah,
Aladdin?
that's true.
Aladdin takes place in
Yeah.
the real time. I mean, I'm just anyway. All right, folks, we ran a little bit over time. Thank you so much for staying with us, and thank you so much for watching. What did you think of our show today? And what are your favorite, underrated, overrated, worst, and best Disney animated movies? Leave your comments in that section below, and let us know your thoughts. Also, if you like what we provide, hit that subscribe button, punch the like button, so you receive all of our great content we have for you here on Real Time. Again, I'm Josh Williams,
I'm Jordan Burke
I'm Megan.
I'm Isaiah.
I'm Andrew.
and thank you for keeping it real.
with Real Time.